Well, Democrats have a new midterm message. If anything goes bad, just blame Vlad. The president doubling down on his claim that record inflation is Putin's fault.
I'm sick of this stuff. We have to talk about it because the American people think the reason for inflation is government spending more money. Simply not true. Make no mistake, inflation is largely the fault of Putin. Democrats didn't cause this problem. Vladimir Putin did. And we are working on to fix it.
Working on to fix it.
It doesn't look like Americans are falling for that talking point. Neither is the judge, as you can hear. A new Wall Street Journal poll finding Biden and the Dems are losing ground on key issues. 57% of voters unhappy with Biden's job performance. Jesse, if I had a line graph, but I don't because I just fill in on this show. If I had a line graph, I could show the rise in inflation over 12 months, and yet we're going to be convinced, or they're going to attempt to convince us, no. This is all over the events of the last couple of weeks.
I'll do a graph for you. All you
Thank
need.
you, Dagan.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Everybody knows it. What else are you going to do? If I'd blame Putin, too, if I were Joe Biden. It is, I mean, come on. When you're a politician, when things are good, you say, hey, that was me, I did it. And when things aren't good, you say, what are you looking at me for? It was the other guy. So this is all he has. And he's now promised Americans that things are going to get normal now. And the new normal is more dangerous and more expensive. And the people didn't vote for that. So he's going to have to figure out a way to tell his party to, I'm not going to say it on the air, and he just needs to run like a one-termer. You know? No, you're not getting reelected. Screw the donors, screw the base. I'm going to do what's right for the American people. If he could do that and focus on being a populist president, lower gas prices, try to help out with inflation, he'd be much better off. But right now, he is going off a cliff, and it's going to be a bloodbath in November.
Off this one issue, Harold, let me just go through the excuses. Inflation's transitory. It's the broken supply chain. It's actually a good thing, I believe Jen Psaki tried to tell us. And now it's Vladimir Putin. Will he pull off these excuses?
I don't know. I'm not sure that any of us believe that Vladimir Putin is not a big reason for some of the challenges we're having globally, with prices going up and perhaps recessionary pressures affecting other parts of the world. Is it all of the, did this problem exist before Putin? Of course it did. There's no doubt we were facing some inflation, and this problem has complicated things. I think you've laid it out about right about what the president has to do to get reelected, and more importantly, in his short-term vision, what Democrats have to do to avoid losing majorities in the House and the Senate. It's a long way away still, and we'll see. But Democrats have to be brutally honest. 57% disapproval rating for the president translates into a lot of losses in November in congressional seats and Senate seats. You got to get that number back 50-50, and you got to figure out what's most on people's minds. Crime, the border, inflation. He manages us out of this Ukraine thing in a meaningful way, much like George H.W. Bush got a huge bounce when he ejected Saddam Hussein from Kuwait. This president standing up to Vladimir Putin on behalf of NATO and the West, it will help him as well. But you have to address the domestic issues. George H.W. Bush lost. You know why? Because he neglected economic issues. You focus on the economy and you're honest with the American people about what you've done right, what you've done wrong, and what you're going to do to correct it. We can salvage some of these seats, and the president can find himself in a better spot 2 years from now.
Hey, Judge, if you dig into this Wall Street Journal poll, the one place that President Biden does seem to have a little bit of positivity is on Ukraine, is on these international conflicts. Does this promise to actually be a life preserver for the Biden administration?
Not a chance. Because in the end, everything is about how much you can afford, how it affects your life, whether or not you can pay for groceries and buy gas or pay for medicine or do all the things that everyday Americans do, spending now $300 more a month for every household. Look, the truth is that the Democrats, in order to win, have to stop lying. It is that simple.
Let me write that down.
Stop lying. Stop telling me this is Putin's fault. Stop telling me inflation is transitory. Stop telling me that this administration is in favor of, fossil fuels when we could do all the SOTs or the sound on tape of Biden saying, yeah, we're going to put an end to it. Look, all Americans want is honesty. All we want is honesty. And the fact that, Biden is saying at least Putin's wrong, I mean, we're shocked. That's like a reasonable position to say. But in the end, it's not going to help him. It's not going to help him. His vice president's not going to help him. His policies are not going to help him.
Well, to both of their points, Dagan, this Ukrainian-Russian conflict will go on for some time. Inflation might be there when it's all said and done. I was in Ohio yesterday doing a diner for Fox and Friends. I had diners projecting, I think gas will go to $10 a gallon. What will he be dealing with in terms of inflation and gas prices by the time we get to the midterms?
There's no way to know. It certainly could remain elevated because you have this Biden and his posse of fools who will not do everything in their power to produce fossil fuels and tap one of our greatest resources here, which, again, is prosperity for us. It's protection for nations that currently rely on Russia for natural gas and oil, and it starves Vladimir Putin and this war on Ukraine. But they won't do it. Number one, Biden incorporated his problem since the beginning of his time in office is that he believes that the electorate and voters are stupid. And he's talked to them like that all along. We're just a bunch of hayseeds and hicks and rubes and deplorables and rednecks. And if you particularly if you disagree with them and question them on their recklessness, like their attack on fossil fuels from day one, then they really dismiss you. And that is their biggest problem. I can tell you that if somebody walked up to my father at the Food Lion and said to him, you pay, how much were your groceries? Putin's problem. Or how much did you pay for gas? Putin's problem. My father would glare at them and say, did somebody hit you in the head? And then he would walk out into the parking lot and he would saw the side view mirrors off that Tesla with the hatchet in the back of his pickup truck. Wow. And that's how all Americans feel right now, especially when they got sold the lie about Build Back Better is going to lower inflation. We need to spend more money to bring inflation down.
You know who killed Build Back Better? Putin.
Yeah. I want to see that video of your dad hatcheting off those side view mirrors.
Yeah, I like the hatchet
I'm excited
part.
about that.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.